70s. But a lot of my friends, for a long time, even my family didn't really know because it was like this big secret. Because, you know, when you're a poet, it kind of weirds some people out, or, you know, that they're not sure you're reliable. And so to have you come and to listen to poems and to share poems with me is just really, it's very special. And there are people here from so many different parts of my life. Some of you I teach with at PCC. Some of you I recreate with, kayaking and hiking and backpacking. Some of you are neighbors. Some of you are my family. So it's really great. Some of you are from my new wonderful thing that I do, my Irish whistle sessions class. You didn't know that, did you, Seamus? You don't want to know that, that's okay. Anyway. So I'm going to read a few poems and then kind of I'll talk a little bit about poems, and then we can share some more, and I may read a little more later in the evening, but I know there are some people who don't want to spend 3 hours sitting in this room drinking. So I think everybody can hear me, right? I'm loud enough like that. So, okay. So I have, in addition to my books, I have this. This is my bookmark, which is free. I brought a lot, so I'm hoping that if any of you have friends that maybe they would have liked to have come. They are free for you to take, to give away. They also are advertising my next reading, which is going to be Sunday, June 2nd at Hawthorne Powell's. And it's not going to be just me, it's going to be two other wonderful poets, Jennifer Boyden and Nance Van Winkle. Nance has taught at Eastern Washington University, that's where I met her. She's one of my professors. Jennifer also graduated from Eastern Washington University, so I guess that's kind of an EWU special. Anyway, I've got lots of bookmarks, and feel free to take them. I'm also interested in giving readings. If you have a group that you know that, like a retirement center, or just a group of friends, if you have a book club, any place where you have a group of people you think you would be interested in a reading, I would love to do it, especially during the summer. Obviously, when you have a book, you have to do a lot of shameless self-promotion, and it's not always comfortable, but it's what we have to do. Well, thank you. It's getting easier. It's getting easier. So, anyway. Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to sneak it over. So anyway, what I wanted to say is this book is dedicated to my parents and to three men. This is the trifecta of my heart. First, and two of them are here. There's Billy, my old dear friend, who is also, there's this great term now that they use for people who you have babies with. He's my puppet daddy baby. Baby daddy. Baby daddy. Baby daddy.
We're suddenly in South Carolina.
Joey, my son, the second person this book is dedicated to, is not here because he lives in France, but he's coming this summer. And there's a rose named Just Joey I brought. So. And the third person is Terry, my little sweetheart. So the first poem I'm going to read, though, isn't really about any of these men. It's about an anonymous man, and sometimes those are the best. Best encounters. So anyway, this poem is called Good it's kind of based on something that really happened. But it wasn't a Goodwill, it was the Red, White, and Blue in Milwaukee. But Goodwill is such a great title, I had to change it. Goodwill. I'd love to affirm suburbia, find a way to praise a part which is not a street or blocky building, but the goods and where they go, eventually, which is down to me and the others, sorting through piles, dumb loads of abandonment, as even now I am looking for something among the sorrowful dresses and empty sheets. All the stuff pouring out its plain sadness until I can't want for anything more. The parking lot's full of fog and rain, and a man in a baseball cap looms toward me, his big Chevy stranded. So we make a mess in the crowd, and I like holding up traffic. Our cars almost touching, the engines moaning, the hot smoke drifting between us. When his car revives, he admits he would happily kiss me. I imagine his wallet thick with pictures, a pillowy wife, the sprawled accordion of kids and their kids. And who wouldn't love a man who had combed for hours through the salvage, his lights dimmed out? So why do I lower my eyes to the warm bulk of his belt? His fingers puff out the platinum dazzle of rings as slowly, gingerly, they uncouple the cables, those double-mouthed snakes arcing blue fire. You don't have to clap after each word. We'll have a little class meter and I'll tell which ones are winners and which ones aren't. Okay, so this next poem, there is a poem that I wrote. It's also kind of based on something real. It's called Beach Croquet. And our son painted this picture. We went through this period of playing croquet all the time. And I'm not very good at it. But we decided, decided to handicap ourselves and play. We played it in Laurelhurst Park with all the roots. And then we went to the beach and we played beach croquet, which was really challenging, and I still lost. But anyway, this is called Beach Croquet. The sun threw down its red pulse track of endings. I'd rather have driven straight through the night to a day at the beach, though on the way back the car would begin hissing as if a great rage had been beaten into the steel like song. At low tide, we set a course over wet sand, dry sand, sand flattened, wind chased into gullies and mounds. Like children, we heaved the ball with the butt of the stick, called it air croquet. Later, our son would paint the sea and sky, meeting at some point of confusion, his parents glued on bits, receding into the blue and white nonchalance of the afternoon. Where failure was expected and winning miraculous and everything could be explained. How the sand closed over our feet like slow water. So, I like the idea of failure. Poetry is all about failure and stuff. Anyway, so now I'm going to read a poem for the third trifecta. This is a poem I wrote before I met Terry, but I think it works. So, this is called Once More with Feeling. Once more with feeling, twice more with starlings kissing air. But now the pages of a book are pressed to the floor as lovers sprawl like dolls over the rumpled bodies of flowers, unhappy with this version of their lives. She wants to return to the place where he first grazed the bones of her shoulders, traced her clavicle and sternum, opened her shirt, and kissed her into dumbness until her eyes rolled back and she became a shallow water he could enter anywhere. She wants a cigarette, though she hasn't smoked in years. He wants to take a leap. The flowers have pitched perfumes at him, and he doesn't want to think how long they will tangle the plot, or how the afternoon perfects them, a dress of plainness as through the window comes a glossy wavering. That was the start. The start of the opinion at the end, but their glossy wavering. Okay, so here's a poem for all of you whale lovers. I wrote this poem, a long time ago. I went to Prague, and I got to study with Stanley Plumley, who was a wonderful poet. And of course, while I was there, I did a fair amount of sightseeing, as one does in a strange place. And I always used to like the irreverent guidebooks. And so there's a rough guide to Prague, and it talked about this museum in Prague, and it talked about there being a whale penis in the museum. So of course, I had to go. And so this poem is called The Tourist. I will probably never be a whale, though I have seen them mating. You may have too. Perhaps on Sunday nights, idly sipping wine with music, one of those pieces for solo instrument where Bach forgets his duty to God and lets the violin follow its own intemperate longing. The TV's mute and turn to PBS, where it's always nature. Whales were cows once. Imagine them in the surf like a bunch of tourists falling in love with the sea. And here they are, two shadowed immensities slurring the light, and a third thing like a dark rope appearing between them. You wish you had popped in a blank tape so you could savor the moment. It must have taken hours, days of lurking under the whales, salt-sucking pores and human breath breaking against them to document this uncoiling. As in Prague at a monastery, books stacked to the ceiling, the room roped off, you can only gaze blankly at the ceiling fresco, the struggle of mankind to know real history. And of course, you want to know it too. In a side aisle among shells and a desiccated turtle, the actual whalish thing, a long unjointed arm narrow to a thumb. Form follows function, and you imagine the moment, how it hesitates, caresses, then levers across the mountainous flesh to find its little cave. Of course, there's a sign, don't touch. Can't you see the girls like startled swans hurrying past in clumps, the schoolboys smirking? What else to do but long to look and touch and be held, armless in blue water, propelled by the long flex of the spine? Why else does the violin, each stroke smoking with rosin, drive that music into our veins?